Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a huge investment, one that actually connects global politics with, believe it or not, what's on your dinner plate.
So what does connect your dinner to a $1.2 billion deal in Brazil? I know, it might sound like some distant headline, but this gets right to the very heart of our global food system. And I think the answer is going to surprise you.
$1.2 billion. That's the staggering amount we're talking about. It's what China's state-backed agribusiness giant COFCO is pouring into Brazil's soybean industry. Okay, let's dive into this.
All right, so to really get why this investment is such a big deal, we first have to talk about the humble soybean. Why is it so important? Think of soybeans as the invisible engine, the quiet workhorse, powering the entire global protein economy. Most of the world's meat and fish, poultry, pork, even farmed fish, they all rely on soy meal for feed. It's the critical first step in that whole chain. Okay, so now that we know why soy is so crucial, let's get into the nitty-gritty of COFCO's billion-dollar bet. What exactly are they buying for all that cash? Yeah, this isn't just some small purchase. We're talking about a massive targeted investment. COFCO is building out soybean crushing plants and the infrastructure to export the finished products. And look at the impact, 5 million tons of new processing capacity every year. And they're doing this right in the heartland of Brazil's agricultural industry. Now, 5 million tons, that sounds like a lot, right? And it is. But to put it into perspective, it's about a 3 to 4% boost to Brazil's entire soy processing capacity. In a market that operates on this massive global scale, that's a really significant jump. And get this isn't some 10-year plan we're talking about. They're breaking ground in the second quarter of 2026, and the facilities start coming online just a year later. That kind of speed tells you everything you need to know about how urgent and important this is for them. Okay, so this is the really crucial part. This isn't just about buying up more raw soybeans. No. The real strategic shift here is changing how those beans are handled before they even leave Brazil. So here's the game plan, laid out pretty clearly. For a long time, Brazil just exported raw beans. It's a lower value commodity, and it can create these huge logistical headaches. COFCO is flipping that script. They're moving up the value chain. They're going to crush the beans right there in Brazil, turning them into higher value products like soybean meal and oil. This gives them way more control.
And what's the payoff for doing all this? Well, it's a trifecta. First, they get direct control over the flow of animal feed into those crucial Asian markets. Second, they capture more value, more profit, by selling the processed meal and oil. And third, they can bypass a lot of the infamous bottlenecks and delays that clog up Brazil's ports every harvest season. Right, and that last point is key. A huge chunk of this $1.2 billion is specifically for upgrading port terminals and storage. It's a massive investment in logistics designed to solve that exact problem of getting things out of the country efficiently.
Okay, so all this focus on processing and logistics, it really starts to point to a much bigger strategy. So let's zoom out for a second. Let's talk about the global power play behind this deal. Because really, this is about way more than just soybeans.
You have to understand, China is already incredibly dependent on Brazil for its soybeans. We're talking more than half their supply. So this move isn't about creating a new dependency. It's about taking a vital existing supply chain and making it a whole lot more secure and resilient. Think about it. By owning the crushing plants, the storage, the port terminals inside Brazil, you're insulating yourself. You're less exposed to the wild swings and the volatility of global commodity markets. It's like building a shield against future shocks.
So at its core, this is about securing supply chains. It's not just a financial play, it's a strategic move to lock down a resource that is absolutely vital.
And by doing that, they're also upgrading the infrastructure. This is a long-term play to make one of the world's most important agricultural corridors run more smoothly. It's like widening a critical global pipeline. And what that all adds up to is this. They are embedding deeper. This isn't just about being a customer anymore. This is a fundamental decision to become a permanent, integrated part of the Brazilian agricultural system. It's a whole different level of involvement.
Which brings us to this powerful idea. In 2026, food security is industrial policy. That's really the ultimate takeaway here. What this $1.2 billion deal really shows us is that for major global powers, locking down a food supply is now just as critical as, say, building microchip factories or developing AI. It's a core part of national strategy. And that leaves us with a really big question. Not just what other industries will be reshaped by this new reality, but how? When securing things like rare earth minerals for batteries or maybe key ingredients for pharmaceuticals, when that starts to look a lot like securing soybeans, what does that do to global trade, to national sovereignty? What does it even mean for something to be a strategic asset anymore?